Today we are back in jail to talk about the 5 most dangerous prison inmates ever. Killer clowns? Psychotic serial killers? Yes, they really exist, not only in the movies. Let's get started. Number 5. Michael Swango. You never know who you can trust. A psychotic serial killer honestly can come in so many different shapes and forms. Michael Swango was a physician originally from Quincy, Illinois, who killed up to 60 innocent people. I'd like to think of him as Dr. Evil. He only admitted to killing 4 people, but he is linked to numerous other deaths in multiple hospitals over the course of 20 years. How do people like that get away with such atrocious acts for so long? People claim that he might have killed more than 60. Only he really knows. He was caught out when a nurse noticed a patient deteriorating right after Michael injected something into the patient's IV. He's also been accused of changing his employment records to hide the fact that he poisoned his colleagues with arsenic and served time in prison in the 80s. As you might have guessed, this guy is definitely in prison for life. Number 4. Jason Barnum. This man, also known as the Eyeball Man, is a heavily tattooed man who admitted robbing homes and stealing cars to fund his heroin habit. Jason was sentenced to 22 years in prison for shooting an Alaska police officer. Obviously, Barnum's offenses were driven by his serious heroin addiction. What made him seem even more dangerous was his tattoo-filled visage. Barnum had one of his eyeballs, yes, his eyeball, completely tattooed. Number 3. Eileen Wuornos. This woman was no less than a monster. Eileen Wuornos was an American serial killer and prostitute who murdered 7 men in Florida between 1989 and 1990. She would usually blame the men she dated of rape and shoot them at point-blank range. According to reports, Wuornos was convicted and sentenced to death and was executed by lethal injection. In case you want to know more about this woman, the 2003 film Monster chronicles Wuornos' story from childhood until her first murder conviction. Number 2. John Wayne Gacy. You must have all heard of the 2017 Hollywood blockbuster It. The movie is actually based on John Wayne Gacy. Gacy started off performing as a clown to entertain children and raise money for charity. He named himself Pogo the Clown. But under this colorful clown avatar was a remorseless criminal. Gacy was a rapist and a torturer. He was convicted of killing 33 teenage boys and young men between January 1972 and late 1978. He was executed with a lethal injection in the late 1994. I think most of you will be afraid of clowns after watching this video. Number 1. Dennis Rader. Dennis Rader is a serial killer who terrorized Wichita residents for decades, from 1974 to 1991. He gave himself the nickname of BTK, which he said is what he would do: bind, torture, and kill his victims. Dennis was one of the most diabolical serial killers in American history. With each and every victim that he tortured, he made sure to have an elaborate photography session and kept it tucked away in a secret basement. Those who knew Rader said he paid attention to detail and appreciated neatness. He was called by others a control freak. As a compliance officer for Park City, he issued threats and spied on people. He was described as cruel and arrogant, on a power trip. Dennis Rader is currently incarcerated at El Dorado Correctional Facility in Kansas. If you had to choose between all these prisoners, which one you'd prefer to be your cellmate? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting and curious content. Also, hit the bell icon button so that you'll get a notification whenever we post a new video. See you in the next video. Goodbye.